Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Breakdown Besties podcast. I'm Ananya,
I'm Akshay.
and we are your Breakdown Besties. Together, we have 14 years of experience writing for shows like Mismatch, Wedding.com, Ishq in the Air, Rana Naidu, Grahan, Inside Edge, and a host of others that have gotten stuck in development hell but will hopefully see the light of day one day. With the Breakdown Besties podcast, our goal is to give you a film school experience right from the comfort of your home, where
Mm.
what we do is watch great films, break down the scenes, sequences, dialogues, and everything else that goes into making a film the phenomenal piece that it is. And what's the underlying mechanics that essentially helps bring all these elements to life. We break it down and then apply it to our own scripts, and we hope that you can do the same so that you too can create your own iconic Bollywood films. And today, the film that we are going to be breaking down is a 2003 masterpiece, at least for its time, I think, because I was
Yeah,
quite spooked watching it this time around too, right?
I was fully uncomfortable almost throughout the film,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And at some points, I was literally like this, like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to see
yeah,
it. And I was watching it in broad daylight.
yeah. Same.
Yeah. So the 2003 Ajay Devgn and Urmila Matondkar starrer Bhoot, written by Sharma and Lalit Marathe. So this was quite a phenomenal, genuinely spooky horror film, which I think is so hard to do.
Very hard. And I think they also tried so much atmosphere building, like how they
Yes.
were so innovative in their shot taking also. Not just
Yeah,
the directions fully elevated the story. It was so
completely.
eerie almost.
Exactly. And every shot was from the perspective of you being watched. So it even at the end of the film when they pull out and you see the
Yeah,
nails and stuff, it's
yeah,
still like someone's watching you, and it
yeah,
is terrifying.
yeah. That was really terrifying. Like even like it's so imposing kind of shots, right? From the middle of the staircase you're watching.
Ah,
It's very spooky.
very, very. Yes. Cool. So let's get into the film the way we always do by getting into the log line.
Hmm.
So what is your log line? Your log line is your film's premise essentially summarized in 40 words or less,
Hmm.
and it is your guiding light. So when you're stuck and you can't see the forest for the trees, when you're writing your screenplay and you are so lost in a scene or in a dialogue sequence and you're like, पर ये film का मुद्दा क्या है? Why am I even writing this? That is when you go back to your log line, because your log line contains four essential elements that will always, always, always point you in the right direction, the direction in which your film is supposed to eventually go. Right? And these four elements are: one, your block, limitation, wound, need, flaw. This is essentially something within your protagonist, which is stopping them from growing and from achieving their element number two, goal. Goal is the main reason anyone comes to watch the film, for the most part. It is the journey the character is going on to achieve something, and we want to see whether they achieve this or not. Then you have element number three, which is conflict. Conflict is the external manifestation of your need slash flaw slash block or wound. For example, if you're a coward, you will constantly be seeing conflict in the way of a lion, the shape of a lion who will be attacking you and forcing you to confront your cowardice and fears. This is actually what keeps people in their seat, at the edge of their seat. It's your story engine, keeps it running, because the more conflict you have, the more entertaining something becomes, and you want to see things move forward. And finally, you have stakes. Stakes are what your character will lose should they not achieve their goal. It is not simply not achieving their goal, it is taking it one level lower. So let's go into the logline of Bhoot.
Good.
Now, with this logline, I'm a little, I feel like a couple of elements are, I wouldn't say missing, but not spelled out.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll read out what I have, and then we can go
Yeah.
into it. So, when a woman is possessed by the ghost haunting her new apartment, they must figure out how to exorcise the ghost lest she live possessed forever.
Hmm. Yeah, interesting. I mean, the thing is, all of this kicks in the film very late. You know?
Very late. Very
Yeah.
late. Yeah.
I had a
Oh.
another version of the log line.
Hmm.
Uh, and you tell me like if it's incomplete. Like even I know while I'm reading this is incomplete.
Hmm.
Um, but humor me. A
Hmm.
wife comes to know that her husband lied to her about their new house, wherein she discovers that house is actually haunted.
Hmm.
Like that is my log line. So, like, but I think let's go into yours. Let's break it down first, and then let's chat.
Okay. Okay.
Huh.
So the first thing is the flaw block limitation, etc. I don't think Urmila Matondkar's character has a need or a
Hmm.
limitation or a
Yeah.
wound. There is nothing internal which is stopping her.
Hmm.
Like I try to think about this a lot and I'm like, why is she haunted? There is no
Yeah.
reason. Like,
Yeah.
so there's nothing internal to her. Maybe it's
Yeah.
because she's a woman and she's extremely empathetic, but that is just intellectualizing everything. That's not actually.
And in most horror movies, they don't justify why is this person being subject to this haunting.
Hmm.
In most films, like especially
Yeah.
especially back in the days, I think modern horror writers are still trying to like justify that why this person. But back in the day,
Yeah.
like a lot of Stephen King novels, like they just didn't tell you like why is the story
Hmm.
starting with this person and not the other
This
person.
person.
Like again, the
Yeah.
question is why is Ajay Devgn not being haunted? Why is she being haunted?
Exactly.
you know
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
for me, I tried to answer it in a way that she was fragile because she cared about that somebody did die in this house. And hence, like, she was a little miffed with him lying in the beginning that
Yeah.
why didn't you tell me? Because there was a slight situation that maybe like if he would have been honest, maybe she wouldn't have moved into the house.
Yeah.
Probably we don't
Yeah.
know that.
Exactly. That's exactly what I meant by she's
Huh.
empathetic,
Yeah.
etc. But
Yeah.
and Ajay Devgan is very obviously a non-believer.
Huh.
But
Yeah.
I still like again that's intellectualizing and us overthinking it, right?
Yeah.
To make it make sense in this template. Then possessed by the ghost. So
Hmm.
that is your conflict because this
Hmm.
ghost is taking over
Hmm.
her life, possessing her, making her do all sorts of things, taking over her body. So you're
Hmm.
constantly wondering what is she going to do next.
Hmm.
That is your conflict. They must figure out how to exorcise the ghost.
Hmm.
So that is your goal to get
Hmm.
rid of this ghost, to get her out
Hmm.
of her body.
Hmm.
And then you have the stakes. Now,
Hmm.
I'd say the stakes here are not clearly established
Yeah.
because I'm like, I can't say she's going to lose her life because it doesn't
Hmm.
seem like she's going to lose her life. It just seems
Yeah.
like she's going to stay possessed forever.
Yeah.
Like the ghost is not going to leave her. And that is not stakes. Like it's not taking it one level lower. I
Yeah.
think the one level lower would be maybe that everyone would leave her. Let's say Ajay Devgan abandons her, everyone
Yeah.
abandons her, and
Yeah.
she's left like being a woman who is, like
Possessed.
walking
Yeah.
through life possessed, yeah,
Yeah.
and being lonely. But
Yeah.
yeah, those are the stakes because at no
Yeah.
point is it that she's going to kill herself.
Yeah.
That's not
She's a threat to actually others around her. you
others
know?
around her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I sort
So,
of get what you say. Like I agree with all those aspects. Uh,
hmm.
and I was say ki, like my breakdown of the log line. Um, again, I tried to intellectualize that why, like, what is her flaw, what is her limitation, what is her block,
Hmm.
is that her husband lied to her about this, which she couldn't get out of her head. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, that sort of kept playing with her, and like, she was more susceptible to sort of these images in the house of the people, like, who were like the ghosts. But
She was
again, this is me,
empathetic. Yeah.
she was empathetic. That was, again, me intellectualizing.
But
Um,
also the doctors also say it, right? Though that's a separate story because this is not about really the doctors, but the
yeah.
doctors say that she's taken that story so to heart that she
Huh.
has been traumatized with this story. And that's
Yeah.
why she's not being able to sleep. That's what's causing all these issues.
Yeah. Correct. This was
So
the
maybe.
science analysis of that, right? Like, this was
Yeah.
on Bhool Bhulaiya also, like how they justified by saying that, oh, Avni took that story too so much to her heart,
Hmm.
because she
Yeah.
related to the whole thing back in her from her life.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
इस केस में तो वो भी नहीं हुआ. Like she also she also doesn't have this like traumatic incident from the past, which I'm, I think, glad,
Nahin.
because I think it's a
Yeah.
little done to death, right? Like the person
Hmm.
who is possessed, some part of their story will come back now. Like I think it's a little too done to
Yeah.
death. And I
Too
stopped
done to death.
enjoying that.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
then um I thought the conflict was that they are now having to live in this house which is haunted. You know,
Hmm.
again, same like the ghost like will
Same
possess
thing.
her. Same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And stakes I couldn't find again. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. I think essentially both our log lines are very similar.
yeah,
It just, you have to kind of just know what each element will lend to.
yeah.
Like, how do you push it? For
Hmm.
example, if you're like, we both have the story engine, the conflict of living in a haunted house or being possessed by a ghost.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you have to know that a haunting will eventually lead to a possession. Like,
Yeah.
that is the way most horror story arcs work, right?
Possession or like murder or something of that sort will happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Exactly. So especially, I think a goal can be something fixed,
Hmm.
right? It is something fixed, like to
Hmm.
exorcise the ghost, get rid of the ghost, all of
Yeah,
that. Stakes are something that can build, as we've
yeah,
seen in, for example, Kahani, where
yeah.
we don't think that she's going to be killed immediately, but later on the stakes are that will she lose her life.
Hmm.
So over here, the stakes can build in a film, and the
Hmm.
conflict has to keep building,
Hmm.
because otherwise you have a flat
Yeah,
arc, right? You don't have an
correct.
arc, then it's flat.
Yeah.
So your conflict is constantly rising action, as we call it in
Hmm.
film
Yeah,
terms. So when you say haunted, you have to be able to mentally push it to see what are the different levels you'll take. So
yeah,
I went directly to possession,
yeah.
but even when you say haunting, it does imply that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I
Correct.
think,
Exactly. Totally. Yeah. And again, there is stake built in this also, is that like it's not normal to be possessed by a ghost, right? Like the stake
it's
is,
not.
I mean, yeah, exactly. So, so this again, there is stake involved in that. Like, we don't know what the
Hmm.
downside of this could be, possibly, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, like
Yeah.
we don't know how much is she a threat to herself or to others. Like that,
Others.
that,
Yeah.
that living in that unknown is stake itself. In like this
Itself.
case,
True. True.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely. Cool. So that is our log line.
yeah,
Next, let's go into our hero's journey. So, what is your hero's journey? Your hero's journey is a journey every hero, every protagonist, and even we go on when we set out to do something new in our lives that entails overcoming something within us so that we can actually go and achieve this new thing. And the reason we haven't achieved this new thing all along is because we also have a need, a block, a flaw, which has stopped us. And in trying to get what we want, we actually go on a journey of overcoming that flaw. The journey is achieving the goal is almost, secondary. But it is in only in overcoming our flaw that we can get closer to achieving it or even imagine having our goal.
mm,
So this is the journey we go on. And as we set out on these journeys, as our characters go on these journeys, there is an organic progression. We will all hit certain emotional turning points. We'll meet certain people in our journeys. We'll have certain emotional experiences. And the hero's journey essentially just maps out all these experiences for us to use as a sort of guiding light or template to tell us that, hey, at this point in your journey, this is the kind of emotional experience you need to give your audience
mm,
so that A, it feels internally true to them, and B, you're also making progress towards your goal and delivering
mm.
the emotional hits you need to keep the story going forward. Right?
Right.
So let's start with the first phase of our hero's journey. That is the ordinary world. This is where you see the characters for the world in which they exist, where nothing is really different. You see why they haven't achieved their goal yet, who they are, where they live, what they're doing. You see all of the circumstances of their ordinary life. In this case, it is that Urmila Matondkar has moved in with Ajay Devgn. They are living their normal life. They're a very happy couple. They're a normal, like, Bombay couple. And they are enjoying this new house and their relationship. Right?
Yeah.
There's also, I would say that you see some of the ghosts in the background in this house. That comes as part of the ordinary world. But Urmila Matondkar hasn't noticed them yet. So for her, this is still, she's in her normal world. Then you have your call to action. Your call to action is when you are beckoned to come achieve your goal. Something on the outside or something from within you will say, come, let's achieve this goal. And you say, okay, let me see what this call is about. So over here, the call to action comes when Urmila Matondkar is, I believe, looking in a mirror, watching TV, and there's a mirror on the side. And for a split second, she sees the ghost there. And she turns around and there's no one.
No button there. Yeah.
So yeah, that is the first sort of call to action, right? That someone is there.
Yeah.
And then as she goes up, like there's a kitchen mein, one patila falls down.
Yeah.
So she calls Ajay Devgn down.
Yeah.
And they're like there's something up here. And then you have the refusal of the call. The refusal of the call is when you or someone within you tells you that, listen, this is not happening. You can't go on this journey. You can't achieve your goal. This is not possible. And over here, Ajay Devgn refuses the call and says, bro, you're overreacting. Kuch hua nahi hai. He starts making fun of her also the next morning. Like the patila must have fallen from the wind.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
One more thing. I think we spoke about this in Bhool Bhulaiya also when you were breaking that down, that in a horror movie, generally, like you see multiple times the call has come to you and you refuse that call. Because I think it's just nature of that film, because you can't directly enter the basement immediately. There will need to be the push and pull where you'd think, oh, I think so, I heard something down there. Somebody will say no. Then you try and go one step ahead, somebody will call you back. And the third time you'll finally go in. And I think even in this film, it happens in different ways where Urmila questions her husband that when she finds out about that they're living in a house which is like somebody had killed themselves in this house. So she asks him, how could you not tell me? And that's when he says that, come on, like, how does it matter? Like, this is rubbish, like, this doesn't affect anything. So again, these series of push and pull of like her trying to like get to this information fast enough and him refusing it, I think also falls part of this call to action and refusal of the call moments,
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Definitely. Then you have meeting the mentor, right? Now, meeting the mentor is when you meet someone who has essentially been on this journey you're going to go on, and they say that if your goal is to slay the dragon, I'm going to give you the sword, I'm going to tell you how to do it, etc. But do you think there's a mentor in this film?
No, there isn't.
And then you have crossing the threshold. So this is when you know that you have taken a step into your new world and there is no turning back. That this is, you are grounded, you are going on this journey, there is no escaping it, you are at a point of no return. Over here, this point is when, I think it's a bigger sequence, where she says she and Ajay Devgn are going for a movie, and then you see that they're in the cinema. And they're in the cinema, and actually everyone's a ghost there. The ghost is sitting next to her. And then she wakes up and she realizes that she's in a dream.
Yeah.
And only for her to go down and have a drink of water, and actually like feel like the ghost is around there.
Yeah, properly for the first time in the kitchen. Yeah.
Kitchen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because before that, she's not believing that there is a ghost. Because there are these fleeting moments that she sees somebody, but her belief is immediately negated.
Yeah.
But now, for sure, because she in her gut knows that this is a person, like this is a ghost,
Ghost,
even though not expressed in these many words, but you can see it very clearly on
Hmm.
screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And then they go to the beach, and
Hmm.
at the beach also, like, she's being haunted by this ghost. So
Hmm.
you know that now the ghost is essentially in her mind. She's
Hmm.
stuck, and the ghost is making her way towards her.
Yeah.
So that is when you know she's crossed the threshold. Like, the
Hmm.
ghost is not going to leave her. She's taken hold of
Correct.
her dreams, her thoughts, everything. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you have tests, allies, and enemies.
Hmm.
Now that you're in this new world, you're going to understand who your friends are, who your enemies are, what tests and challenges you're going to face, who's going to
Hmm.
support you. And in this case, you see that one of the allies, but also not really allies, but enemies, is the doctor
Hmm.
who Ajay Devgn goes to, and he says that, okay, she's been really affected by the story, so she's feeling like she can't sleep. We need to give her sleeping pills, insomnia. Ajay Devgan's trying to help her out. He really thinks
Hmm.
something's wrong with her. Then you see all sorts of tests coming her way where she
Hmm.
feels haunted, she sees the ghost.
Yeah.
That's going on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you have the approach to the innermost cave.
Hmm.
This is when, if your goal is to slay the dragon and grab the bag of gold, this is where you approach the cave of the dragon and fight them to try and get that bag of gold.
Hmm.
In this case, it is the complete possession of her,
Hmm.
where she is fully taken over.
Yeah.
And I believe this is when Urmila Matondkar goes and kills the watchman character.
Perfect.
Right? This
Yeah.
is the approach to the innermost cave. You know that as a ghost, she is here. She has done the thing. She's on the
Hmm.
path to doing the thing that she's on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once you've gotten this bag of gold,
Hmm.
your ordeal commences. Your
Hmm.
ordeal is essentially the consequences
Hmm.
that you now have to face as a result of stealing that bag of gold. There are people coming after you. You have to flee. You have to make good your escape. Lots
Hmm.
of things. So over here, it is a police investigation that begins behind the
Hmm.
death of the watchman. Nana Patekar's character comes in as an inspector who's trying to figure out what's up with this case. Then you have Ajay Devgan now consulting a psychiatrist. They want to
Hmm.
see what's wrong with her on that front,
Hmm.
that, just a psychologist or a sleep doctor isn't helping.
Yeah.
Hmm. And all these different things are going on, and she gets
Hmm.
completely possessed to
Hmm.
the point that she even develops to superhuman strength, as they all
Hmm.
do, even Vidya
Hmm.
Balan's character in
Hmm.
Bhool
Yeah.
Bhulaiya lifting up
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah.
And she shoves Ajay Devgan away
Yeah.
and realizes something is really wrong and something needs to be done about this,
Hmm.
right?
Correct.
Then you have the reward.
Hmm.
The reward is you've finally gotten a breather. You've left everyone behind in your wake. You can get a moment, and
Hmm.
you can enjoy your bag of
Hmm.
gold.
Hmm.
In this case, it is the sequence where the maid who has worked for Manjeet, who
Hmm.
used to live in this house
Hmm.
before and has seen the person earlier, the prior tenant, says that this is not some mental illness. I can
Yeah.
tell that this is Manjeet.
Yeah.
I recognize her voice. So this is actually Manjeet possessing your wife.
Yeah.
And Ajay Devgan, who now has seen his wife have superhuman strength, all of that, has gone from a non-believer to a believer.
Yeah.
Finally says that, okay, I guess you're right. And
Hmm.
this is the work of an exorcist, not a doctor. So
Yeah.
they go to Rekha's character, and Rekha agrees to help.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is your reward.
Yeah.
Then you have your way back. Now that you've secured your reward, you still
Hmm.
have to make your way back home. You have to
Hmm.
ensure that it's safe and protected, and you're able to
Hmm.
take the final steps towards your home.
Hmm.
In this case, Rekha comes home. She talks to Manjeet, and they realize that there is more than meets the eye to her story. That she was
Hmm.
not a crazy woman who just jumped off the balcony and is now over here haunting the house.
Yeah.
So then he goes and calls Manjeet's mother,
Mother.
and then we have Fardeen Khan's character enter. And over here, we have the big reveal that
Hmm.
it was actually Fardeen Khan who was trying to force himself onto Manjeet. And when he couldn't have her, he threw her out of the window. I mean, threw her off the balcony, threw her son
Hmm.
off the balcony, and also made the watchman complicit in his
Complicit.
actions. Yeah, by saying that, don't tell on
Yeah.
anyone, don't rat on me.
Essentially, the whole lore of the film comes out in this phase.
Comes out here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Manjeet wants her revenge on Fardeen Khan. And in this time, Nana Patekar, who obviously doesn't believe that there's a ghost and all this is happening, it believes that Swati, that's Urmila Matondkar's character, is responsible for killing the watchman because she has a mental illness. So there's a big scene in the basement where Manjeet is trying to get her revenge on Fardeen Khan, and she is going to do something to him. When and this is honestly the lowest point for Swati as the character, for Urmila Matondkar's character, because as Manjeet's mother says, or Rekha says, I don't remember that, that Fardeen Khan ki saza Swati ko mat do, because if you kill Fardeen, then Swati is going to get punished. So, and that is the resurrection moment. The resurrection moment is when your character is at their lowest, and then they rise from the ashes and they are saved from their lowest point. So when Manjeet the ghost decides not to kill Fardeen Khan, Swati, whose body she was possessing, is also saved from the
legal consequences of it.
And also at this point, Nana Patekar has entered the scene. He's seen that, okay, there is actually a ghost living here in this body. And Fardeen Khan at the same time also admits to having killed Manjeet. Yeah. So that is your resurrection. And then you have your return with the elixir, which is where your, your character returns to the old world, but now as a new person. So over here, it is just Swati giving Ajay Devgn a hug, saying that, okay, I'm free of this ghost, right? But the story is not over yet, because Fardeen Khan goes to jail and turns out Manjeet has left Swati's body, has not left this world. She is here to get Fardeen Khan, which is a good, satisfying ending.
Yeah, like I like justice is served, like whoever was the culprit, they killed them. Like the watchman got killed and like this guy got killed, and like, it just feels nice.
Yeah, for sure. And while this story seems like Swati's story, it is actually Manjeet the ghost's story.
Yeah, of course. Correct.
This whole film. So in fact, you can even do the hero's journey from her point of view, because she is the heroine of this journey, I think. Because at the end of the day, this stopped being Swati's story. She was just literally a medium, a vehicle for the haunting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because after the midpoint, like, she didn't do anything actively. Like, her character did nothing actively.
Nothing. Exactly. So that way, Manjeet's ordinary world is, when the house is empty.
Yeah.
Her call to action would be when Swati and all come into the house, Swati and Ajay Devgn and Urmila Matondkar, their character.
Yeah.
There is the refusal of the call there wouldn't really be a refusal, because like Ajay Devgn's not believing that she exists, but she's not. She's like, haha, don't believe me. I'm so going to keep like trying.
Yeah. Correct.
And then the call to action, the mentor, there's no mentor here again. And this crossing the threshold would be the same, where she is
starts showing herself to Urmila's character.
Showing herself and exactly. Showing herself. Then Test allies and enemies would be similar, where she's haunting her everywhere, possessing her, they kill them. And that is happening. Approach to the innermost cave would also be killing the watchman.
That's the first medium of justice she gets in her life, essentially, right? Because the watchman threw the sun off the balcony.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you have ordeal. The ordeal is where she's fully possessed this woman, but she doesn't know what to do next. She's not being able to communicate.
Yeah.
So she's like, she wants Fardeen Khan's character. And then Rekha coming to her and having that conversation and saying, I'll get your mom and all of that, until Fardeen Khan coming would be the reward for her. From meeting Rekha to Fardeen Khan coming is because now she can go after him.
Yeah.
The way back is, like almost killing Fardeen Khan.
Yeah.
And the resurrection is
again,
seeing Fardeen Khan in jail.
yeah.
I think her
No,
body, and
the
there is no
resurrection.
return with reality.
The resurrection would be that moment, right? Like when she doesn't do the murder of Fardeen Khan by Swati's hands, but instead, like she makes him hover on the ground, like hover in the air, and like he's above those nails. And like
Hmm.
that's her moment where she takes that bigger, like the higher step where she doesn't need this medium anymore physically. She just had to prove to the world that this guy
Hmm.
is my killer. So like what the true
Hmm.
revelation needed to be for her life, that
Right.
she didn't commit suicide, somebody killed
Yeah.
her, was this guy who
Right.
killed
That
her.
is her resurrection.
Resurrection.
Nice. Yeah.
And the elixir is that she comes to in the jail to haunt him and to essentially kill
Hmm.
him.
Kill him. Yeah. 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 Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, these are our two heroes' journeys essentially.
I have no notes on
Yeah.
character creation, by the way.
Yeah, none. And I have no notes on theme also because there is no theme.
There is no theme. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Will
what
justice
we'll
be will will justice be served in this life?
Yeah, yeah. Essentially.
Yeah, yeah. Even I didn't make any notes on theme, but I'm just thinking now when we discuss the hero's journey
Yeah.
from Manjeet's point of view, I'm like maybe like karma hits you bad.
Yeah. It has to be like um justice needs to be served at any cost.
Huh. Yeah.
Like you shouldn't leave until justice has been served. Like you should
Hmm.
always pursue justice being served.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Will you will you always face the consequences of your bad actions? Like, like
Actions.
essentially, if it has to
Yeah.
be stated as a question.
Question. Yeah. Until what point should justice be pursued?
Huh. Yeah.
Because
Correct.
I'm thinking of it from Manjeet's point of view.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's like, till what point should justice be pursued, right? Like,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
answer is until it is served. So
Correct.
even if you have to haunt people until you're
Yeah.
dying in post death breath,
Yeah.
whether you
And
need a body or not.
yeah, I was thinking in the end, why hasn't the ghost followed Fardeen Khan before? Like, why now?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
now the ghost is aware where Fardeen Khan is. You know,
Hmm.
technically, like, otherwise, this ghost was captured in this house all along, right? Like, it couldn't go beyond this. There were no previous tenants in this house, no previous, like, people who inhabited here. So, there was no
Yeah.
medium for her to go out. But now that,
Hmm.
and hence she couldn't call Fardeen's character to her. But now that
Yeah.
she's called him and now she knows where he is, she can haunt him now again, forever or
Yeah.
get her justice.
You really thought about the mechanics of this world.
Yeah, I did. I did. I was like, because these all things really bother me.
Hmm.
Because when I saw this ghost at the beach, I was like, Acha, now,
Yeah.
okay. Like now, what just happened, Like, now will she come everywhere with her, Like, uh, and and there was a difference, right? Like, that theater sequence was very evidently her mind playing with her, right? Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like you see not just her, but like everybody else turning into a ghost. But I genuinely feel like at the beach, maybe there was the ghost with her,
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I feel that
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now that was only possible because now the ghost got a medium to like go out or whatever, like
Hmm.
now the ghost can feel good about going out. I don't know. But like it sort of made small steps added in my mind for this to happen.
Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
And
Cool. Yeah.
I do feel sometimes like especially horror writers are very cognizant of the fact that how much you can push your ghost, right? Like
Hmm.
how much unrealistic or realistic you can make them. Because
Yeah.
ऐसे तो you can say that ये कुछ भी कर सकता है ये भूत, right?
Hmm.
But that's not fun because the only good stories will come if you set certain limitations to every character you have. So
Yeah.
I know like you would like the writers would have thought that why hasn't she gone out before? Like something
Yeah.
that must have happened, even if they're not in these exact words, but they must have set some rules for their ghost.
Definitely. Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Let's go into scenes and sequences next. So, okay. So, I think one scene I want to talk about, and this is not even really a scene, it is the opening slate of the film where,
That was my first scene I was going to talk about.
right?
Yeah.
And where Ram Gopal Verma says that women who are pregnant
Yeah.
and people with heart conditions
Yeah.
should be careful while watching this film or shouldn't watch this film, right?
Yeah.
And the first time I read this, immediately thought about a roller coaster.
Hmm.
And I'm like, this is essentially maybe because I just gone to like
Oh,
Universal in September or
yeah.
something. Yeah. This is the
Hmm.
sign they put outside all rides, roller coasters, etc., that people with heart conditions and people who are pregnant shouldn't be on this
Hmm.
ride. And immediately I was like, oh, so this film is going to be like a roller coaster.
Hmm.
So, how do you create a visual using words?
Hmm.
So, if you want to create a roller coaster or give people the sense of what is coming their way, they've
Hmm.
taken the words of one world and implanted it here to give you a feeling of that world, to give you a
Hmm.
sense of what's going to come your way. So, this is a
Hmm.
beautiful technique of imagining what ride you want to take your characters on and using that imagery in the form of words to foreshadow that experience.
Hmm. Very
Absolutely.
smart. Yeah, very cool. Hmm.
Yeah. What did you have on the opening?
I thought when you meant the opening slate, I meant the opening credits, which
Right,
was
even that.
which was the sound of all these wails, the screams, the visuals of fire burning, and
Yeah.
and I just felt that this is the moment of establishing the genre, right?
Hmm.
Because your audience has come in with a certain expectation because they're going for a genre film and they
Hmm.
want that emotional thrill, right? Like people in real life don't want to be scared uncalled for, but here people want to be
Yeah.
scared. They're wanting this escapism and this experience out of it. You deliver
Yeah.
immediately, right? Like, and immediately when the opening credits start, you feel extremely uncomfortable. Like, I'm like,
Hmm.
what is going on? It like just had such an unsettling feeling in you.
Yeah.
I don't know what those motives are. Like, I could only sort of like in like superimpose that maybe like these were the wails of like people mourning for the death of this person who has just had this fire,
Hmm.
or like are these the like wails of the actual ghost when like she was dying? I don't know what it is,
Hmm.
but it just establishes the genre for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what that also did was, especially because obviously this is very niche, but
Hmm.
all the shots, not only are they, very banal shots of our lives.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
traffic, there are houses, ye wo. And especially if you notice, it's all shot in Four Bungalows, Model
Yeah.
Town,
Yeah.
Lokhandwala
Yeah.
Back Road.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're familiar with all of that, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's looking at the ordinary through the
Yeah.
lens of the supernatural.
Yeah.
So even what we consider banal actually
Yeah.
has this underlying eeriness to it. So
Yeah.
I think that also really worked, that using the ordinary visuals to spook you, like giving it a
Yeah.
different spin.
Correct. Correct. Totally.
Then I think one more sense of foreshadowing.
Hmm.
We touched upon this briefly when we spoke about the angles and how
Hmm.
everything is constantly like you're being watched.
Hmm.
So even before the ghost has been set up, even
Hmm.
before you've established that there is someone haunting this place, even then the visuals are you constantly being watched.
Hmm.
And you think that, okay, that is the stylistic choice that they've made within this film,
Yeah.
right? That they want you to have that. But then you actually cut to the ghost watching them.
Yeah.
And you realize that it's not just a stylistic choice, it was also foreshadowing,
Yeah.
visual foreshadowing, that someone is
Yeah.
always seeing you. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you would write this into a script, honestly, because it is a
Yeah.
very directorial choice.
Yeah.
But if you are a writer director and you have the choice to put your direction on the page, then I
Yeah.
would definitely break the rule and say that, okay, it feels like someone is
Yeah.
watching them the whole time. And then you
Yeah.
later on say that, oh, someone is watching them. The ghost is
Yeah.
watching them. So that
Correct.
felt like a good foreshadowing done there.
Yeah. And that was such an interesting moment in the film, right? Like when you see the ghost actually in that angle,
Yeah.
you're like, oh no, like they spelled it out. Because
Yeah.
this moment essentially comes as a reveal in a lot of films, right? Like who the ghost is.
Hmm.
But up
Is there.
clear, we see the face of the ghost. We see that this is a person, not a
Hmm.
creature. Like
Creature.
that was such
Yeah.
a strong writing choice, I would say, for
Choice.
sure.
Absolutely. And what they do immediately is take away the idea that it could be Urmila Matondkar's head.
Head. Yeah.
So it's not a figment of her imagination that, okay, now she's heard this story of Manjeet
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
uske man mein ye sab, her mind is making them up. We
Hmm.
see the ghost before Urmila Matondkar has heard the story. So you know that
Hmm.
the ghost exists independent of her imagination.
Hmm. Correct.
So you're always
Yeah.
on Urmila Matondkar's side in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
You're never like, कि अच्छा ये पागल है कि नहीं.
Correct. Yeah.
Another idea I wanted to go into here is once you've set up the ghost,
Hmm.
right? Every scene you have then is imbued with tension.
Hmm.
So it is like you don't even need to do anything extra.
Hmm.
Everything is just like, okay, the ghost will come now. You're looking at this
Hmm.
from this perspective. Is this the ghost? Is the ghost? So it's a technique which I call Minesweeper, where
Hmm.
you have established that there are little grenades underneath, there are
Hmm.
mines, and you have to step carefully because you don't know when it will blast. So
Yeah.
the same thing over here is now you've established the ghost. So the ghost could be anywhere.
Yeah.
And now you have to be careful about where you step. So this
Right.
is a technique you can really use in horror films because
Hmm.
once the idea has been set in your
Hmm.
audience's head, now
Hmm.
you have the ability to play with them.
Hmm.
But of course, with great power comes great responsibility. So you need to know when to use this, when to push it, when to pull it back. Because if
Yeah.
you're constantly scaring them, I mean, also diminishing marginal utility, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to keep getting those scares out of people. They'll be like, acha, you're constantly scaring me. This is not working.
Correct.
But this, once you've set that fear, pulling back and forth is much easier because now you have a
Yeah.
baseline of fear.
Yeah. And I want to segue into this technique which I figured out, like how they did this, which is that
Yeah.
how can, like, obviously, like figuring out the push and pull is the
Hmm.
key to writing this. But one way
Yeah.
you can define that is by establishing a pattern,
Hmm.
like you sort of like established what the world of these characters are. So you have very repetitive shots of Ajay Devgn leaving the house in the morning, him
Yeah.
getting in the car, him driving to his office, setting his briefcase up. So in this, and you see it repeatedly. So now whenever he goes to office,
Hmm.
Urmila is alone in the house. So like there is
Yeah.
more possibility of ghost coming to attack her.
Yeah.
So this eeriness comes in even more because now, like, oh shit, like the pattern has been established, right? Like now you know that this is a problem. And
Hmm.
what establishing a pattern also does is that when it's broken, it will give you the maximum effect. So when
Yeah.
when like he's coming home, the day he's come home early, he's caught her in the act of when she is
Yeah.
possessed. You know?
Yeah.
Similarly, whenever he's going out, coming in, you see the clothes on the watchman. Uh,
Hmm.
and so when the pattern is broken, when he comes to see the watchman, the watchman has been killed, the shock affects more because the pattern has been
Hmm.
established again.
Yeah.
So I think this is something they do usually in horror films a lot, where initial few days go in establishment of what these characters are doing, because it's
Hmm.
also another way of saying, oh, this is the ghost observing them now. So you identify
Yeah.
when are they most vulnerable. So this ghost has
Yeah.
also identified that this woman wakes up in the middle of the night, comes down for some rhyme or reason, right? Like one day she wanted to watch
Yeah.
TV, one day she wanted to get water, some or the other thing keeps happening. And again, the
Hmm.
pattern is broken when she actually gets like sees the first visual of this ghost again. So
Yeah.
yeah. And again, like I've
Nice.
seen this happen in like films like Conjuring, where some kid in the middle of the night will wake up repeatedly,
Hmm.
or like the clock at every day stops at this time, and
Yeah.
like the um, people leave in the morning, come at night, whatever, like that. The routine needs to be established for the audience, for the ghost, both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that ghosts are creatures of routine and habits.
Yeah.
Very Capricornian.
True.
Another thing I want to get into was using the push and pull, was
Hmm.
how to create push and pull, which
Hmm.
is creating tension, diffusing it. So you bring the audience back to a place of calm
Hmm.
and then you bring it back again. Because
Hmm.
if again you're constantly on a high of fear, 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 you
Hmm.
the emotion doesn't land anymore because it's only
Hmm.
building.
Hmm.
The only way to deliver a scare is to
Hmm.
first bring an audience to a very safe space to feel like,
Hmm.
nothing is going to happen to me. I'm okay. And then delivering that fear.
Hmm.
So I think they do this very well in the crossing the threshold sequence, where
Hmm.
first you have the bit where Urmila Matondkar is in a dream, right?
Hmm.
But you don't know she's in a dream.
Hmm.
So she is being haunted by the ghosts, all of that, and you're like, oh crap, this is scary, blah, blah, blah. And then you wake up and you realize she's in a dream. This wasn't
Hmm.
happening. Okay,
Hmm.
great. Tension is diffused. Then
Hmm.
she goes down, she sits on the couch. Again, you have someone coming towards her. You're like, oh my God. Because you've established the ghost, you
Hmm.
think that, okay, now this is the ghost. That was a dream, so this is definitely a ghost. Have
Hmm.
someone come around, it's actually Ajay Devgn.
Yeah.
So you feel even more safe as the audience that,
Hmm.
okay, this is fine, nothing's happening. Then you take them to the beach. And
Hmm.
in the beach, A, she's with Ajay Devgn. B, there are lots of people around. C, there's broad daylight.
And they're out of
So
the house.
again, this is out of the house.
Hmm.
Exactly. So big sense of safety is established that here to the ghost will never come.
Hmm.
And then it's actually the ghost who comes. Because
Yeah.
the way she's running around and the way everyone on the beach has left and it's
Hmm.
just her.
Hmm.
Like, oh, so then the fear really lands. The
Hmm.
scare really lands because you have established so much safety for your audience. So you have
Hmm.
misdirected them into a sense of safety
Yeah.
and then gotten delivered the scare. So this
Hmm.
is a solid way of creating a scare in a horror movie.
Hmm. Very cool. Yeah, I never thought about it that way, but yeah, very cool. I want to talk about I don't have a technique for this. Probably like
Hmm.
the technique is mirroring in the sense that you create two scenes in a film which are sort of mirror images, and those scenes can either happen with the same character when they have arced, or you do those scenes with different characters to see that how that same situation is affecting the other character now. So we first have the sequence which you just spoke about, where Urmila Matondkar's character Swati is witnessing this haunting incident, and then she realizes it was a ghost, right?
Hmm.
So, and this was a dream she wakes up to in the night.
Yeah.
Um, and later on in the film, a similar scene is constructed with Ajay Devgan's character, where he is now observed, or he is now cognizant of the fact what Urmila Matondkar as a character is capable of, because he's seen that the watchman has died now. So when he's sitting on the sofa alone, he gets this feeling that she's come to him and she stabs him in the
Yeah.
chest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he realizes that, oh, this was a dream. So
Dream. Yeah.
now you've established that the same thing which was she went through, now he is going through.
Hmm.
And also the second thing, it keeps the genre again intact, right? Like,
Yeah.
because now the horrorness is not just again for her, now it's
Hmm.
transported from one character to the other now. So I thought like
Yeah.
this mirroring was done very interestingly.
Oh yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this immediately, this mirroring technique also leads me to a moment of callback, where the callback, as we've established, is a moment, a scene, a dialogue between two characters, which recurs in the movie after a certain point, and which sort of like drives the point that whether the relationship between these two characters have changed or whether it has not changed at all. In this callback, which I'm going to talk about, the relationship has changed, which is the first time uh, Swati's character, Urmila Matond's character, tells Ajay Devgn about like, oh, I think there's something wrong in this house, and I don't think it's like whatever. Like she's feeling these things, and he says कि तुम पढ़ी लिखी लड़की हो, तुम कैसी बातें कर रही हो? Okay, and it goes away in a fleeting moment. The same incident, the same feeling later on, Ajay Devgn is feeling, and he tells this, and he tells the psychiatrist about this that I don't need your help
Hmm.
anymore. We have another person coming and taking care of my wife. And he says the same thing. तुम तो पढ़े लिखे इंसान हो, ऐसी कैसी बातों में believe कर सकते हो?
Hmm.
So now, even though this callback is with the same character, it's with Ajay Devgan's character, but with
Hmm.
different people, we say that one was where he was not believing it, and now he is the one on the receiving end of it. So the nature of relationship has changed here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool. Very cool.
yeah.
Nice. And I want to talk about one technique of creating suspense in this
Hmm.
film,
Hmm.
and which is seeing the consequences of an action through the lens of a person who will be most emotionally affected by it. And I know that's a very roundabout way of saying it, so I'll give an example. So
Hmm.
Ajay Devgn is out smoking on the balcony. And in
Hmm.
this time, he doesn't realize that Urmila Matondkar is possessed and she's gone and left the house.
Hmm.
You see Urmila Matondkar go down in the lift,
Hmm.
and she goes and she's walking towards the watchman.
Hmm.
You don't know what she's going to do, but you know that she's dangerous. So there's a sense of foreboding there that, oh
Hmm.
God, something is going to happen now. In the meantime, you go back to Ajay Devgan's character, and he has realized now that Urmila Matondkar is not in the house,
Hmm.
and the door is open. So he is going to now check on her. He's leaving the house, and as he opens the door of the lift, Urmila Matondkar steps out and goes back into the house.
Hmm.
So now he is suspicious. He's like, something has happened. And you, as an audience, have seen that, okay, she was walking towards this watchman. So something has happened. So then Ajay Devgn goes down, and through his eyes, then you see that she has killed the watchman. She's turned his neck the other way around. His face
Hmm.
and body are not aligned. And over here, we could have seen Urmila Matondkar do it.
Yeah.
That would have been fine. You would have been scared. But you've already seen the ghost.
Yeah.
You've seen Urmila Matondkar be like possessed by it.
Hmm.
But what you want now is for Ajay Devgn to feel scared. And because when he, a non-believer, is scared, the audience is also actually scared that, oh, there is an actual problem now, because the
Yeah.
one fearless person is also now scared. So
Yeah.
because we need to be on the same page and level of fear that he has, we see this through his lens. And
Yeah.
also the intercutting creates suspense because we wait for the reveal to come from the most emotionally resonant lens.
Yeah.
Let's go into genre tropes next. Yeah. So I think the first genre trope which we touched upon briefly was the lore,
Hmm.
right? Every horror film usually has a lore surrounding the ghost, because the idea of a ghost is someone who has unfinished business in this world and they are still sticking around because they need to finish it. So that is why what that unfinished business is your backstory, your lore, and you have to have one in order to give the ghost motivation. Otherwise, your ghost can't be like chilling, and they're not a poltergeist, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, where a
Yeah.
poltergeist is someone who comes in and he's like, haha, I will mess with you for fun.
Yeah.
Because that's no fun, right? For a
Hmm.
movie. That doesn't give
Hmm.
you enough motivated conflict. So you
Yeah.
have to have a lore in order to motivate the ghost.
Hmm.
Another one I want to talk about in this genre of films is very common, which we saw in Bhool Bhulaiya also, which is where the person who is being possessed or haunted is often first classified as a mental illness patient.
Hmm.
Because it is obvious that when this happens, you're not a normal person is not going to believe that a haunting is possible.
Hmm.
And to build on this, what they also do, they put this mental illness in, is because this stops this person from getting the help and the belief they actually need. This means your ghost can create more damage because there is no external intervention stopping them, because no one is believing them. And only once there's so much damage being caused and they really need to be helped to the point where they almost can't be helped, do people realize that it is a ghost. So the
Right.
mental illness is almost a stopgap arrangement for logic in order to ensure that the ghost can create maximum damage and create conflict within your story.
Right. Yeah. I want to talk about this trope. Again, I don't have a name for it, but it's somewhat, we spoke about it, Razi, where there is one peculiar servant in this house, and that sort of like creates a mystery for the audience. Like we don't know
Hmm.
what that situation is. Like, so in this case, the house help in Ajay Devgn and Urmila Matondkar's house, uh, which the moment you see her, you know something is off about her, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't pinpoint what, but there is always this moment of like sometimes the doorbell rings and she is there, or
Hmm.
like uh, just like she has this like force around in the house where you don't know what is wrong. Like we think that maybe she
Hmm.
knows something, she's seen something. So I think this is
Hmm.
common horror film trope that the butler, the maid, the servant, or the house help was sort of around in this mansion or this house even before
Hmm.
the current characters in the film took place. And which
Yeah.
comes later on in the film where she says that I recognize this voice because this was
Hmm.
Manjeet's voice. Lived with her, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think that is something which happens a lot in these horror movies. And
Horror
especially
films.
and
Yeah.
especially it's I think it makes sense because it's like these structures exist for longer than people who've stayed there, right? So what is the constant factor in these structures is the support staff essentially, right? Because
Hmm.
they don't have that sort of movement allowed in life, right? Where they can't just go and choose a different city, right? Like,
Hmm.
so I think that system of it's a little bit a take on like class, right? Like
Yeah.
these people just can't go out of here. Like they have
Escape.
to,
Yeah.
they can't escape here. This like I remember
Hmm.
recently I saw this film Hokum, you know, and even in that, the main receptionist like is something he knew that oh there is a problem in this hotel, but I can't leave this hotel. Like where will I go?
Yeah. I need this job. So
Yeah,
like.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Unlike all the other characters who can choose to run away from this place, right? But like these
Yeah.
this strata of characters can't, so they have to deal with the
Hmm.
consequence of that.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that because it also explains why she's also a little unhinged, like
Yeah,
unsettling, like you feel like
yeah,
something's wrong with her because
yeah,
she has been around this ghost a lot.
yeah,
Or,
exactly.
hmm, interesting. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um Another trope which I have is the creepy doll.
Yeah, yeah, I have that too.
Which is you see generally like in these horror movies there is like some doll kind of thing or a toy or something which like is just creepy to look at, and that creates the
Yeah,
eeriness and horror of the film.
yeah.
Sometimes again these are objects, not people who can move from place to place. Objects generally stay in that place the way they are,
Hmm,
right? So
yeah,
this doll was there in the child's hands when he was being pushed down, right? And the doll will continue to live in that house, right? So
yeah,
it's like an it's like a motif which you see in a lot of these horror
yeah,
movies, and immediately you know, oh, something is off here.
yeah. And I think the reason it works so well is also because you can't keep showing the creature, right? That gets
Yeah,
visually boring.
yeah,
So this, like even Bhulbulaiya, you have the payals, the ghungru,
yeah. Yeah.
and over here. So without creating that sense of visual fear, you create fear in your audience's mind. Yeah.
Another thing I'm going to talk about because of this creepy doll trope, there is also the trope of the creepy kid, which is that in horror movies, like a lot of them, there is this presence of like a kid, or like, something is wrong with the kid is possessed, the kid is the ghost.
Hmm.
A lot of it comes there, like, like books and films like It, or The Shining, or like, Conjuring, like the person who was attacked first was the kid, right? And like, even
Hmm.
in this case, like one of the ghosts leaf figures. I don't think the kid is
Yeah.
haunting essentially, but like one of the it's a creepy element to the film, right? Like because the
Hmm.
second ghost established in the house is the kid. So I think it's another like trope, and I think it works because you don't expect a kid to be scary, right? Like like the general definition, like not definition of
Hmm.
perception of a child as like, oh, it's cute, or like you don't associate horror as an element
Hmm.
with the child. So the fact that
Yeah.
this kid is something wrong, that it just gives us a feeling that, oh, there's something seriously wrong here, you know?
Wrong here. Exactly. And I think it also allows you to have some more empathy for the ghost because
Yeah,
kids are usually blameless, right?
yeah,
So it really helps you understand the ghost's motivation as to why it's stuck around in this world. So
yeah,
while you don't like their actions, it does
yeah,
help you understand why they're around here and care about them in some twisted way.
correct, totally. And I have one last trope which I want to talk about is that
Hmm.
while you're writing a horror movie or making a horror film, you have to remember to place yourself in the shoes of the character, because there can be a major difference in what your character's actions are and what your audience expectation of them is. So I'll give you an
Hmm.
example in the sense that twice we have seen Swati's character, Urmila Maton's character, wake up in the middle of the night and go down, you know,
Hmm.
and both the times she has encountered problems. She has seen the ghost twice. Now the
Hmm.
third time, you know that, when she wakes up in the middle of the night, you're wondering, mat jana niche, why are you going niche? Like,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
common question, right?
Hmm.
But you have to think of that this is not the third consecutive night in her life. It's like,
Yeah.
how much can one person not go down, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
her home. She wants to know what
Hmm.
is wrong here, right? Like, or she just wants to go down. It is one of those things. So,
Yeah.
like, even though you might feel that, why are you answering this door, why are you calling this person, because this person has encountered problems, but you have to put yourself in the shoes of this character, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is their reality now, so you have to explore that. So I
Yeah.
think, because a lot of horror films get this thing that just don't go down in the basement,
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
imagine this is in your real life. Like, if you know something is wrong there, like, how can you not go and check it out, right? Like, you will want
Yeah.
to know. So
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
how much will you not go to the bathroom at night?
yeah,
So,
exactly. Like, imagine if the ghost was in the bathroom, then are you not supposed to use the
yeah,
bathroom? Like, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. And also, the story wouldn't move forward, na, then. Like,
yeah,
if they
correct,
don't go there.
exactly.
If she's
Yeah.
just in her room, then, matlab, horror ho gaya. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, one thing about audience expectation is that the audience doesn't know that this is what they need. Like,
need. Yeah.
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 Like, even like when we write like mismatch, everybody's like, they don't talk up, like, there is no engineering and they're not studying. But I'm like, if
Hmm.
we write a scene where they're just talking about code, will you watch?
What?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. So that is all we have on Bhoot, right?
Yeah. That is all we have on Booth.
Great. So thank you everyone for tuning in on another episode of the Breakdown Besties podcast. Next week, we will be doing Hindi medium. So if you have the ability to watch it beforehand, do give it a watch and then come back and break down the episode with us next Thursday. And if you have any questions, recommendations, comments, down in the comments, in our DMs, in our email, we are always listening to you and would love to create episodes and answer your questions for you. So we'll see you next Thursday on another episode of the Breakdown Besties podcast. Bye.